not much. How about you? I'm not sure why I called. I guess I really just wanted to talk to you. And I was thinking maybe later on we could get together for a while. It's been such a long time and I really do miss your smile. I'm not talking about moving in, and I don't want to change your life. But there's a warm wind blowing the stars around, and I'd really love to see you tonight. We could go walking through Windy Park, take a drive along the beach, or stay at home and watch TV. You see, it really doesn't matter much to me. I'm not talking about moving in, and I don't want to change your life. But there's a warm wind blowing the stars around, and I'd really love to see you tonight. I won't ask for promises, so you don't have to lie. We both played that game before. Say I love you, then say goodbye. I'm not talking about moving in, and I don't want to change your life. But there's a warm wind blowing the stars around, and I'd really love to see you tonight. I'm not talking about moving in. Looks like it's over. You knew I couldn't stay. She's coming home today. We had a good thing. I miss your sweet love. Why must you look at me that way? It's over. Turn the other way. I don't wanna see you cry. Sad eyes, you knew there'd come a day when we wouldn't have to say goodbye.
All right, well, hi everybody, a big aloha to you. Welcome, my name is Joseph. Can you hear me okay? Those headsets working? All righty. I know the staff has already briefed you here. I just want to point out that we are carrying air sick bags in the helicopter just in case the flight gets to your tummy. Grab one of those and I'll do the best I can to smooth the flight up for you. Co-pilot, there's one right there just in case. The volume controls are on the side of your headset in case things are too loud or too soft. You guys can make the adjustment. We ready, co-pilot? Yeah? Okay, let me wind this magic carpet up here and we'll get going.
I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. After 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and the perfect disguise of
Dust Devil straight ahead there.
under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain.
Well, it takes almost 20 minutes just to get to the top of the volcano. In the meantime, we were flying over lots of sugarcane back there, 40,000 acres of it. Now we've emerged into the dry side of Maui, the Kihei Desert, which receives only 6 inches of rain annually. And the opposite side of the island gets about an inch of rain a day. It's the Keawe tree down below that doesn't mind this dry climate. There are over 10,000 islands out here in the South Pacific, 132 of these making up the state of Hawaii, which became our 50th state back in August of 1959. 2 of them on the right over here, the larger one, an abandoned island, used as a target practice range by the military, known as Kaho'olawe. And the little one out there is called Molokini, great spot for scuba diving and snorkeling. This little island, or little volcano in front of us here, created about 300 years ago. It didn't have much of a runoff. And, It's the world's largest dormant volcano, big sleeping giant. The last 800 years, it was on a cycle of every 100 years it would awake and create a small lava flow. Its last eruption, 1790, the lava fields out in front of us from that last eruption, and then back to sleep. This time it's been quiet for just a little over 200 years. The volcanologists today have their probes and monitoring devices around the volcano. They can sense hot temperatures and gases deep down inside, but so far no movement or swelling of the ground yet.
In the immensity of the Pacific, a chain of islands lay unseen and untouched for tens of millions of years. In this primeval wilderness, a profusion of life forms evolved. Plants and animals that existed nowhere else in the world. This Eden was protected by 2,000 miles of ocean, but its splendid isolation could not last forever. Seemingly harmless cargo, a bold group of voyagers came upon Earth's most distant island. The collision between mankind and this fragile paradise would change the fate of Hawaii forever.
From this altitude, we can see the island of Hawaii off to our right-hand side over there. Those are some very large volcanoes that make up the island. Mauna Kea on the left and Mauna Loa to the right. Now, when measured from the ocean floor up to the very top, they exceed the height of any other mountain on the planet. Haleakala here ranked number 3. From sea level to the top, they reach almost 14,000 feet. And in our winter months, that's high enough to support enough snow to open up some small ski slopes. Kind of strange, huh? Pack your skis, head for Hawaii. At the very peak of Haleakala, that's what we call Science City. And that's a joint venture between the military and NASA. They've created some very powerful observatories, a major space shuttle communication link, and operational Star Wars laser equipment up here as well. The inside of the volcano looking so much like the moon's surface, it was the training ground for the Apollo astronauts. We used to fly down inside the volcano, but with it becoming our national park, all aircraft are now required to stay to the outside, so we'll be sure to put it on the right-hand side as well. Pu'u had helped to vent its tremendous pressure when it was active, full-blown active, 800,000 years ago. That's the inside, the various colors of the minerals. Iron oxide creates the rust-looking color. The lighter shades of yellow are sulfurs. I'll bring it around to the right-hand side as well. We have a very rare plant growing in the volcano called the silver sword. Seems to grow nowhere else in the world. Very strange looking plant. As we descend now, be sure to yawn and swallow to equalize the pressure inside your ears. If anyone has trouble, be sure and let me know and I can slow down the rate of descent for you. The valleys down there initiated by the lava thrown from the top but etched much deeper through centuries of erosion. In this valley in front to the back will be the tallest waterfalls on Maui. They're just lightly flowing this afternoon. It's rain up there that drives our waterfalls, and it's a pretty clear sky. It's still a beautiful valley called Mana Wainui, meaning big spirit waters, as we take a look. Charles Lindbergh used to live out here along the coast, our pioneer aviator. He made that historic flight from New York to Paris, crossing the Atlantic successfully back in 1927. He was only 25 at the time. It took him 33 and a half hours. He just barely made it with just enough fuel. What a tragic story. After the flight, his child kidnapped and held for ransom. He paid the ransom money, met every demand, but never did receive his little boy back. There's a beautiful valley coming up on the left here, Kipahulu Valley. Coming up on the right-hand side is another valley, and this is where the 7 sacred pools are located. This is where folks come to experience the rainforest, hike, picnic, swim in the waterfalls. It's all free camping. You can't really see the waterfalls or the pools from up here. Just trying to point out the valley where everyone's driving to. This little one on the right-hand side. You can see the parking lot, though, filled with vehicles down there. Every day, lots of folks back in here. Up ahead here, and this side of the island has a number of light streams that come down over here, and there's over 25,000 different species of plants on the island. And the 3 types that are not here, poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac, they're not in Hawaii at all. That's Hana straight ahead. Series Fantasy Island, they're bringing it back. They're over here recreating the set, and they'll start filming later on this fall. We have a few celebrities that live back in here. We have Chris Christopherson here, his neighbor Jim Neighbors, Gomer Pyle, George Harrison of the Beatles, Burt Reynolds has a home here, and Richard Pryor. They're all right here in the Hana area. Others that live on Maui, the basketball player Magic Johnson here, Willie Nelson, Randy Travis, David Bowie, Barbara Streisand, and Carol Burnett. When Haleakala was measured from the ocean floor to the top, it was discovered to exceed the height of Mount Everest. It's over 30,000 feet high. 10,000 shows above, but twice as much is underneath, 20,000 feet below.
They came in great double-hulled canoes, following a star far to the north. When the Polynesians made landfall nearly 2,000 years ago, Hawaii was a slumbering Eden. Its human history was about to begin. Carrying the plants and animals needed for survival, the Polynesians conquered the Pacific and discovered one land after another, until they reached the most remote land of all. They had never seen any place like it. Towering into the clouds, the Hawaiian Islands were the most massive mountains on Earth. 70 million years ago, long before the time of man, the first of these islands was born beneath the sea. In that distant past, 3 miles deep on the ocean floor, an undersea volcano, an embryonic island, struggled to reach the surface. From this primal hotspot, island after island emerged from the sea, their slopes smoldering and lifeless at first. Life had to come from far away to reach this new land, for it was the most isolated island chain in the world. In the middle of the Pacific, more than 2,000 miles from the nearest continent. Only once every 50,000 years did a plant or animal find its way here and establish itself. A migrating bird brought seeds or insect eggs hidden in its feathers. Or a spore drifting on the wind took root. Plants began to transform the landscape. Water carved and sculpted its rocky slopes. One day, the water would wear the islands down to mere specks of sand. In the meantime, it makes etchings on mountainsides. In this protected sanctuary, every valley and crevice became a cradle for the evolution of new life forms. A single plant or animal could be the starting point for spectacular new species. Over 91 kinds of lobelia evolved, all descended from the seeds of one plant, blown across the ocean from Asia. A few hundred original insect species became 10,000. Old as well as new species have prospered in the island's nurturing isolation. Hawaiian monk seals, the most primitive and unchanged of all living seals, thrived alongside the ancient green sea turtle. Charles Darwin would have been astonished to see what happened to the first finch-like birds that arrived in Hawaii about 15 million years ago. Accidentally blown by a storm to these shores, they survived and eventually evolved into at least 50 different kinds of Hawaiian honeycreeper. Each one is unique in the world, and each has a distinctive beak designed for a specific task. Their songs ring through once silent forests. By the time the Polynesian canoes arrived, most Hawaiian plants and animals were unique and existed only here. Everything worked together because everything had evolved together. Balance prevailed, as yet undisturbed. The Polynesians settled Hawaii's lowlands. There was little to eat in the highland rainforests, and people believed that spirits dwelt here. So few dared to come. Hawaii was first settled around 300 AD, when the Roman Empire was giving up pagan gods for Christianity. Its history, recorded orally, is longer than modern Europe's, and by the 18th century, its conventions were as elaborate. The high chiefs were the earthly representatives of the gods. Most Hawaiians were forbidden to look at them. Even to be touched by a chief's shadow could bring a sentence of death. To the Hawaiians, brilliantly colored feathers would confer power. Feather cloaks were symbols of authority and rank, and only a high chief could wear one. Feathers were so valuable that people paid their taxes with them. But the birds paid too.
Those beautiful feather cloaks that the Polynesian Ali'i wore took nearly 80,000 of the rare o'o bird to complete. The o'o had only two little yellow feathers that they were sacrificing the entire bird for.
The Hawaiians revered nature, but they also altered it. For centuries on islands across the Pacific, the Polynesians had burned forests, and they burned them here. Many of Hawaii's lowland forests were cleared to make way for crops. They had to do this. Contrary to popular myth, Pacific islands are difficult environments to live in. To survive, the Polynesians had always carried seeds and cuttings in their canoes. Taro was the Hawaiians' most important crop. While this new environment meant extinction for many birds, some waterfowl thrived in the taro paddies.
There's all pineapple underneath us here.
By the 18th century, the storm of change brought by the Polynesians to the lowlands had altered the natural balance. But that storm was only a breeze compared to the hurricane that was coming. In 1778, the Europeans made their discovery of Hawaii. They were to cause as much damage in 200 years as the Polynesians had in 20 centuries. They introduced their domestic animals. Nothing in Hawaii could compete with them. They changed the landscape, crowding out and destroying native plants and animals. And that was only the beginning. Sugarcane, pineapples, coconut palms, parrots. Ironically, everything considered typical of Hawaii today is alien, brought here by humans. Like cattle, goats were first released to provide fresh food for ships' crews. They invaded the mountainsides, devouring plants that other grazing animals couldn't reach. High in the Alaca'i Preserve, there are places so remote that the human presence is still a rarity. To come here is to experience Hawaii as it was millions of years ago. The helicopter becomes a time machine. But even here, native wildlife is not entirely safe. In one of the greatest mass extinctions of modern times, nearly 70% of all native Hawaiian birds have disappeared forever. Others barely cling to existence. When the first ancestral finches arrived and laid their eggs, a huge supply of baby food was already waiting. Hawaii had insects in abundance, and they had been here for millions of years. Insects are evolution's most dramatic showcase. Ants were not part of Hawaii's original landscape. Until Europeans accidentally carried them here in their ships, there were no ants in Hawaii. They have caused havoc in the islands, for there are few insects more aggressive and powerful than the ant. The big-headed ant evolved in Africa, where it became a ferocious competitor. Native insects in lowland Hawaii have rarely survived their invasion. Yet every living thing we destroy or allow to vanish takes the entire planet a step closer to extinction. In Polynesian legend, there is a jumping-off point for the soul's return journey to the home of the ancestors. It is a voyage back to the way things were.
Okay, thank you so much, folks. Staff are coming out now. You go ahead and slide off your headset and seatbelts.